Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Gitsky. Well, it's been a weekend of raw emotion and at times destruction. 3 nights in a row, people marched out to protest the death of George Floyd, who died after a police officer pinned him by his neck in Minneapolis last week. Now, these protests happened all over the country, most of them peaceful demonstrations, others spiraling into riots, with cameras capturing the violence, looting, and arson in real time. Well, 3 nights of protesting in downtown Bakersfield. The third night of protests started off relatively peaceful, but as midnight approached, tension between the crowd and local law enforcement escalated. The chaotic scenes from Friday and Saturday freshly imprinted in the minds of protesters. However, Sunday looked to reprieve from that as only around 100 protesters peacefully marched nearly 2 miles down California Avenue to MLK Park in East Bakersfield. The sentiment the same as fellow protests around the country. They said they wanted to make sure they were seen and heard. However, around midnight, protesters became more aggressive with law enforcement, causing BPD to call for an unlawful assembly. Our 17 News photojournalist Juan Corona was on hand to capture the scene. Police pushed back protesters on Truxton back to L Street. Most of those protesters scattered. However, a few defied BPD, and officers arrested those who refused to vacate the premises. Most protesters have been peaceful throughout the weekend. Samantha Gonzalez has been a vocal force during this protest. Well, she's just 18 years old, but over the past 3 nights, she has often been the one holding the megaphone, sharing her message.
This isn't just for George Floyd. A lot of people think that it is just for George Floyd. It is not. It's for all the lost lives that we have over here. We have a lot of people that have been murdered by BPD, and they have the highest murder rate over here as well. So it's not just for George Floyd. It's for all the injustices that our people have suffered. Ryan Silva, they had said that. Ryan Silva, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. There's so many people that we're here for. It's not just for George Floyd, but for all the other people that we don't know about.
Now, here in Bakersfield, there were instances of vandalism over the weekend. Most protesters have been peaceful, though. Many of them are young people of color like Samantha, and they all are passionate about what they're protesting, even half a country away from where George Floyd died. Well, the Bakersfield Police Memorial and several other spots in downtown Bakersfield were hit by vandals. On Sunday, a graffiti removal crew was out and about removing vulgar language from several spots around Truxton Avenue, including the police memorial. The courthouse was also spray painted along with the windows to some businesses. Well, in Delano last night, a candlelight vigil was held to bring attention to police brutality and racism. Dozens of people, most of them teens and young adults, gathered outside City Hall. They were encouraged to wear black, bring a candle and a mask, and practice social distancing. The gathering was peaceful with a powerful underlying message for our youth.
I want to make sure that they are here for the right reason. I want to make sure that they're here to be informed, and they have a voice. They have a voice, and they have a voice that needs to be heard.
Ralph Markham, who's on the Community Law Enforcement Liaison Board, says there is an open door policy for law enforcement complaints, adding the police chief is committed to transparency. Well, there has been a lot of unrest nationwide and even in our community, as we saw over the weekend. For the past couple of days, we have seen the most powerful protests nationwide, but some are turning to vandalism and destruction. Robin Robinson, a pastor for City Serve, urges residents that that is not the answer.
No matter how many things get destroyed or people get hurt, it doesn't fix it. We have to focus on what can we do to change our perspective on these kinds of issues, and then really take steps to do that. And I see that happening in Kern County in a lot of different areas. People stepping out to say, we got to talk about this. We have to talk this through and try to fix it. But no matter the violence, no matter how much you destroy in any city, anywhere, it's not going to fix it. So the perspective of knowing that, listen, we have to love each other. That's what we're called to do. We're all created the same. We're all created equal. And we have to learn to love each other in that way.
Now, there are ways you can support the cause here locally. Happening tonight, there is a chance for you to voice your frustration in a peaceful way. It's called Prayer for Peace. They will meet at the Liberty Bell at 5 p.m. and anyone is welcome to join.
But I just encourage our community to really come together, and those places where we can, let's stand in solidarity. Let's stand together. Let's be an example. Kern County is seen across the nation. Let's be an example to our nation of how we can come together and get a new perspective for peace.
And on Wednesday, pastors are going to meet for a prayer walk from 6 to 7 p.m., and they will end that walk in front of the Bakersfield Police Department. Well, now to the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County. Public Health confirms 72 new cases today. That brings our total to 2,322 people. 38 people have died from COVID-19, more than half from local nursing homes. More than 1,400 people have recovered. More than 25,000 tests have come back negative, and more than 900 tests are still pending. Well, police are looking for suspects after a deadly shooting last night in Bakersfield. It happened before 9 p.m. on Union and California Avenues. Now, according to Bakersfield Police, surveillance video shows a man in some kind of argument with someone else. He got into his car to drive off, but the gunman shot him. Officers were alerted by their shot spotter system, which detects gunfire. BPD says this happened at the same time as the protest, but they don't believe it's related.
At this point, it does not appear to be protester related, but we're still working all leads at this point.
Now, all we know is that the suspect is a man, according to police. And police are still looking for two vandals accused of spray painting Kill More cops on the Bakersfield Police Memorial. But yesterday, one man stayed in front of the memorial so that it wouldn't be defaced again.
These are fallen officers that died in the line of the duty, and for them to vandalize this, they had nothing to do with what's going on right now. It was very disrespectful.
Police say they're looking for two men accused of defacing the memorial. Both men in their 20s. One man is described as Asian with short black hair and has a tattoo on his left forearm. The other man is described as Hispanic with long red and black hair and a ponytail. If you know who these men are, you are asked to contact BPD at 327-7111. And the Bakersfield Police Department is looking for a man accused of throwing bottles at officers during the local protest. Police say on Saturday, and he later removed a letter E from the department's building facade on Truxton Avenue. The man is described as being in his mid-20s with shoulder-length braids. He was wearing a black t-shirt, black shirt, and long black shorts. Anyone with any information is also asked to contact BPD at 327-7111. Well, last night marked the third night of protesting in Bakersfield following the death of George Floyd. On Friday night, Mayor Kern released a message to the community urging people to respect one another. She encourages people to voice their opinion, but in a peaceful way. She says there is no place for violence.
And we are so grateful that in America we do have the right to assemble peacefully, and we will continue to guard that. And we are grateful that most of the protesters have been peaceful. We don't want to let the destructive behavior of just a few hinder our ability to hear the real message behind the protests. And we must open up the dialogue for those who are sincere and have legitimate concerns.
In Mayor Go's message over the weekend, she said, "We as Americans have the right to protest, but also a part of our system is law and order. Those who take part in destructive behavior will face penalty, and that will not be tolerated."
We are grateful, though, that the people of Bakersfield, for the most part, have chosen to demonstrate peacefully. And we want to continue to support that. That is their right. Bakersfield, let's do it the right way. Let's come to the table. Let's have the meaningful dialogue that can lead to the positive change that we desire for all.
Mayor Go says Bakersfield residents are coming together to support the cause, and as long as they do it in a respectful way, she will stand with them. Well, today, the Bakersfield, California Highway Patrol office will be closed. Now, due to the growing civil unrest throughout the state and by order of the governor's office, that office is closed to the public. Those with a vehicle identification number appointment will be able to keep their appointment. Now, all other services will be closed, and it is unknown when they'll reopen. Well, today we are seeing another pleasant day out there. Let's send things back over to Kevin Charette with a look at our week forecast.
Well, Nicole, we've got some high clouds out there, but for the most part, a very nice start to the afternoon. Temperatures are running into the 70s. Take you outside right now. We'll show you Arvin, and they've got 79 on the board under mostly sunny conditions. Wasco, some high clouds, and 80 currently. 79 for Bakersfield, a west-northwest wind at 7, and overnight we were at 65, so 4 degrees off the normal. 87 is our normal high, and 110 the record set back in 1970. All valley locations into the 70s right now. 60s and 70s into the mountains, 78 for Lake Isabella. Ridgecrest, though, at 89. And you can see these high clouds pushing in from the southwest. And that will continue as we go throughout today. And it's all because of a system that's just southwest of us, somewhat stationary. So the only thing we'll see out of it is this high cloudiness that is in place right now. 75 in Sacramento today, 89 in Fresno, 79 in L.A., San Diego at 74, a little warmer east, 94 in Vegas, and 106 today in Phoenix. And again, here's the Pacific view, and all we're tracking right now is this low, and it is a stationary low, so it's going to continue to sit there at least for the next day or so before it starts to get closer to us by the end of the week. And we'll have to watch Friday with a chance of a shower or maybe a thunderstorm. But in the meantime, it's just going to push in some high clouds, as you can see here on Futurecast HD, and it's not going to stop our warm-up. That's going to be in place starting tomorrow. So here's a look at the headlines. Warming up this week, upper 90s midweek with thunderstorms possible by Friday, and then our next cool-down will come for the weekend. Air quality today will be good with an AQI of 45, and we'll call for an 89 in Bakersfield today, 90 in Delano McFarland, 86 in Taft, 89 in Buttonwillow for the mountains, 76 in Frazier Park, Tehachapi near 77, and into the Kern River Valley, Lake Isabel at 84, 83 in Wofford Heights, and the desert. We'll look for a breeze out of the southwest, 10 to 15. Mostly sunny, 86 in Mojave, a hot day in Ridgecrest at 93. Your extended forecast shows 96 tomorrow, 101 on Wednesday, 102 on Thursday. Friday, a chance of a thunderstorm, mostly cloudy, and we start that cooling trend again. And by Saturday, Sunday, in the 80s for the mountains. Tomorrow, back into the 80s. Those 80s hang on through Thursday. Cooler weather as we round out the work week heading into the weekend. There's also a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm on Friday for you. And then for the Kern River Valley, tomorrow some clouds around the area. 92, so still warm. 90s on the board through Thursday, and then we'll cool you down for the weekend on Friday. There's also a chance of a shower or thunderstorm for you as well. So overall, not a bad Monday. Nicole, back over to you.
You're right, Kevin, and I'm sure most of us are enjoying this cooler weather as well. It was a hot one last week. Thanks for that.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
In your 17 Business Watch, businesses across the country have closed from concerns of looting during the riots. That prompted Target to close many of its stores to avoid a repeat of what they've seen in some cities. We found all of the Target stores in Bakersfield shut down and doors and windows barricaded before their usual closing time. Walmart stores in Bakersfield and Delano also closed early this weekend. The company released a statement saying it continues to monitor the situations unfolding in cities across the country, adding the safety of its associates and customers is their focus. It did not specify which locations across the country are temporarily closing. Well, Amazon is scaling back deliveries and changing routes in areas that have seen violent protests. The company tells Bloomberg the temporary safety measures are for cities like Los Angeles and Chicago. According to the news service, Amazon quickly recalled some of its deliveries in some cities on Saturday night. Taking a look around the state, chaos that unfolded in Los Angeles this weekend. The entire county was placed under curfew, but that didn't stop many people from going out. An hour after the curfew went into effect, people could be seen looting from various stores, and firefighters were battling a fire that consumed several stores. Governor Newsom declared a state of emergency with the National Guard also being called in to help. And Long Beach investigators suspect protests may have led to a fire that engulfed a clothing store last night. Now, police say a lot of looting has been reported in the area. The flames were so intense, firefighters could not enter the building and had to fight it from the outside. The roof to that building eventually collapsed. Now, the exact cause of that fire has not yet been determined. And in San Diego, police used tear gas, flashbangs, and pepper balls to break up a crowd of hundreds of people. Police say people had begun vandalizing and looting, breaking storefront windows and stealing goods. Dozens of people were arrested. Now, there were no reports of any major injuries.